Heyo, and what is up, gang? Thank you for checking out Sledgehammer TV tonight, and we conclude what has gone down in history as the worst week for professional wrestling that has ever been, with one of the worst shows in the history of professional wrestling that has ever been, which is SmackDown, which continues to suffer as the worst show in all of professional wrestling. It just never gets any better, and with everything going on in the world, it's just getting worse with the absence of the fans, and there's just nothing anybody can do but sit here and wait for it all to get back to normal. But even when it gets back to normal, it's going to be the same old crapola on SmackDown, and we are going to talk about it right here and right now. My name is Nick Nightmare, and you are watching the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show SmackDown Review and Reaction Show, only on Sledgehammer TV. Let's do it.
The Sledgehammer Wrestling Show.
You know, say what you want about the state of professional wrestling nowadays. There was so much that happened this weekend outside of the show that is SmackDown, or this week rather, that SmackDown doesn't even really matter, right? We have a list of almost 40 superstars and talent and executives and people that work for the WWE that find themselves on the unemployment line. We've seen Vince McMahon be revealed to be just as much of a bad person as we all imagine that he is, you know, with his investing WWE's money in the XFL itself going out of business. We've seen what they talked about in the Jimmy Snuka Dark Side of the Ring documentary this week, talking about how shady Vince McMahon was and trying to cover up whatever it is that actually happened with the Snuka situation. These are all very serious things, and all of them were trumped with the news yesterday of the passing of one of the greatest things that professional wrestling has ever had, and that is the passing of the great Howard Finkel. The Fink! And man, this is hard to even talk about. And if you're like me and you're as old as I am, you know how important the voice of Howard Finkel is. He was the soundtrack to almost every single historic moment that has ever happened, from the first WrestleMania to WrestleMania 3 and many, many beyond. Not just WrestleMania, but Royal Rumbles and Survivor Series and Saturday night's main events. He has been responsible for some of the most unforgettable calls that there has ever been. He is one of the most replicated announcers that there has ever been. Nobody delivered the "Here is your winner and new World Wrestling Federation Heavyweight Champion." I have personally been sitting inside the hallowed halls of Madison Square Garden and has heard the booming voice of Howard Finkel echoing throughout the arena. Just, it's indelibly etched into my memory. He was one of the first, or the very first, WWF employee, the longest tenured WWE employee, and it doesn't matter what anybody says, there will never be anybody that has been better in the position of ring announcer than Howard Finkel. And I know there's a lot of you guys out there that may be a little bit younger than I am, and you have no idea of what I'm even talking about when I talk about how important this guy is. But if you go back and watch on the network anything from the late 70s and early 80s into the mid 90s and beyond, Howard Finkel is the quintessential voice of professional wrestling, especially pertaining to the WWE. And I know there's the Tony Chimmels in the world, and there's the Jason Robertses of the world, and there was Lillian Garcia for a long time, who was a protege, actually, of Howard Finkel. And there's Michael Buffer and his "Let's Get Ready to Rumble," and none of these people can even touch anywhere close to the stratosphere where Howard Finkel resides. It is a sad, sad moment in my life as a fan of professional wrestling. He was a treasure. He was a national treasure. He was such an important part of my growing up and my childhood, and all I can do is hear his voice when I think about things like, or people like Hulk Hogan, Randy Savage, the Ultimate Warrior, the Legion of Doom. When I think about these names, or I can't help but hear them pronounced the way Howard did it. There really was just nobody better. I said it before, I'll say it again. It's the soundtrack to professional wrestling. He is the gold standard of ring announcers. There will never be anybody greater, anybody better than Howard Finkel. And he was a fantastic man to top it all off as well. If you watched Legends House on the WWE Network, you got to see a different side of Howard Finkel. You got to know a little bit more about his health problems and some of his personal issues that he had been dealing with. And he's just a wonderful soul in this world. And he loved nothing more than professional wrestling. He was just a wealth of wrestling knowledge. He could talk about it all day, all night. He knew everything there was to know about the business. He was in the business for nearly 50 years. He's a man that should never be and will never be forgotten. And it is way more important for us to spend our time talking about Howard Finkel than it is talking about the disgusting episode of SmackDown. And some of you guys might have actually enjoyed this week's episode of SmackDown. I am not among you guys. There was way too many poop hammers to be dished out on this show, mostly pertaining to the women's division on this evening. My God, man, if you would have sat down yesterday and told me, hey, check this out, tomorrow night we're going to have Tamina beat Sasha Banks, and that we're going to have Naomi lose to Dana Brooke on the same show, I would have told you that's not going to happen. You can't tell me that's actually going to happen, but you know what? It did. It happened. And you have Sasha Banks on TV losing to Tamina, who's been back for a hiccup and has done nothing but flub any lines that they have given her to talk about and do nothing but botch. This match was a disgrace from the start of the match and it's not even doing a service to Sasha Banks. She couldn't even work with this girl. It was just, and it's nothing personal. I don't have a personal thing against Tamina. What I have is something against people that get up into that ring and don't deserve to really be there. And who are you to say who deserves to be there, Mr. Nightmare? Well, I can see with my eyes. I can see with my eyes, and my brain is connected to my spinal cord, and it actually is still functioning at a pretty high level, and I could see that she is nowhere near ready to be wrestling people like Sasha Banks. Even from a character perspective, she has come back, she has done nothing. She's wrestling Sasha Banks for a shot at Bayley's championship. Why? Because she wasn't defeated in a match where she was pinned to be eliminated? None of that makes sense. It makes as much sense as giving a win to old Dick Lips Dana Brooke over Naomi, who's got the glow. Ever since she's come back, her glow has been nothing but a dim light in the background, just fading away, slowly dimming back into the darkness from whence she came. It's sad. It's sad to see them decide, somebody decided that Dana Brooke should be in a Money in the Bank ladder match and not Naomi. You figure that one out. With the athleticism possessed by Naomi, with the popularity of Naomi, with the crowd, You would think her connection to the Usos and the family of the Reigns would help her get some sort of a push. But Naomi had to sit there and lose tonight to somebody who's known for doing somersaults and botching in the ring. Good old Dana Dick Lips botch machine Brooke. She's worse than Bam Bam. I don't belong here. I'm not in the ladder match. Or if I am, I shouldn't be. Bam Bam. This show made so many terrible decisions, and it started right from the beginning with a moment of blech. A moment of piss with Alexa Bliss, newly crowned Women's Tag Team Champion, with her partner Nikki Cross. Bliss Cross Applefoot. Why they are using them to further the Braun Strowman story is beyond me. Just because you gave Alexa Bliss a segment, you have to use that segment to embarrass Braun Strowman even further than he already embarrasses himself just by existing? Holy shit, man. We were 5 minutes in and I was almost already half asleep. And sure, they did something mildly interesting with Braun Strowman. Braun Strowman talked about his history with Bray Wyatt. He talked about how that's a part of his life he's trying to forget about. And then suddenly there's a present in the ring, and Braun Strowman notices, and he's like, "Oh, Alexa, you didn't need to get me a gift." And he opens up the box, and it's the black goat mask from his days in the Wyatt family. And then you hear Bray Wyatt's creepy little laughter in the background, and then we go to commercial. And all of that 3 seconds at the end that actually mattered, with the goat mask and the laughter that was kind of cool, that's all you really needed to do. You didn't need Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross out there just cringing it up for the world to see. Because they're the new Women's Tag Team Champions. This is how you feature them. You don't put them out there in matches. Not that I want to see that. But at least if you're going to put the belts back on them, put it on them for a reason and use them to establish the division a little bit better. Oh, and by the way, who's the next challengers for the Women's Championships? Carmella and Dana Dick Lips Botch Machine Brooke. So why is she in the Money in the Bank ladder match? If she's in the... You know what? She's not worth any more breath than we've already spent on her. So they opened up with a moment of piss and all of this nonsense with Braun Strowman and Bray Wyatt. Fine. You know what? Like I said on last week's review and the review of everything that has happened over the course of the last couple of weeks pertaining to Braun Strowman and Bray Wyatt, everything that is happening right now is very cool. I like the story that they are trying to tell, but it would be way more impactful if Braun Strowman was not the champion. The Universal Championship, if it was on the shoulders of the Fiend Bray Wyatt this whole time, this storyline for his revenge against Braun Strowman, a gigantic man that has turned his back on him and wronged him in the past, would be much more meaningful. But instead, he's trying to get his title back while it's around the waist of a guy that shouldn't even be holding it. So they're using this interesting storyline to make you interested in what's going to happen, but it's still all ass backwards. And it's almost inevitable that Bray Wyatt is going to get his vengeance and get that championship back. And he will hold it until Roman comes back from his protest of having to be forced to work in conditions where he shouldn't be made to work. And eventually he will be coronated once again. Or maybe, maybe this whole situation puts him in poor favor with the old man. And maybe he decides to change gears and go with somebody else, and the Roman agenda might officially be extinguished as of now. Because Roman don't want to risk his health, and that would be ridiculous. But you're telling me that this shady old man wouldn't be that petty? Roman didn't want to perform at Mania? Screw him now. I was going to give him the world, now he gets nothing. You don't see that happening? Because I do. Anyway, after the moment of blah, we went to Tamina defeating Sasha Banks. Thanks to Lady Evans, who came out to blindside Bayley. She got involved because Bayley was sticking her nose into the match, as everybody knew she would, and it led to Tamina getting a victory over Sasha Banks with a super kick. And man, my skin just crawled. And if I'm Sasha Banks, I'm sitting there going, I mean, I understand that there's a slow burn story they're trying to tell, but you got me in the ring losing to Tamina Snuka. You got me in the ring losing to this girl right now. Why? Why? And losing somewhat clean. She had her shoulders pinned to the mat. No shenanigans, no nonsense. Just a distraction by Lacey Evans was more than enough. Man, talk about falling on hard times. We're all waiting for the inevitable turn. Whether it's going to be Bayley on Banks or Banks on Bayley, it doesn't make a difference. Everything that's happening until that moment doesn't matter. And this momentary push for Tamina, this title match that she's going to get, can't end with Tamina winning, because it means nothing. So all of it is happening for no reason. And if there's one thing that this tells me, is that it's possible that Sasha Banks is going to win the Money in the Bank briefcase. Otherwise, why else would she agree to lose to Tamina? They got to give her something back for this, right? So it's got to be that. If nothing else, it's Sasha Banks wins the contract, cashes it in on her best friend, and starts off a whole rivalry. But does anybody care? Does it mean anything if we do Sasha versus Bayley without the fans? So, like, on the one end, I'm like, all right, she's going to be involved with other women. They're doing the slow burn to the angle, probably trying to delay it until things get a little bit more back to normal and they could do things in front of the fans, and I can appreciate that. But at the same time, doing it with people like Tamina Snuka and Dana Brooke, unforgivable. Unforgivable to me. So Tamina earns a future title shot against Bayley. And then we go to a squash match for Sheamus. So we're doing this again. We're having Sheamus wrestle nobodies. A former King of the Ring, a former World Heavyweight Champion, a guy that's been a multiple-time tag team champion with another member of the roster that's actually part of the same show, right? We got Cesaro on SmackDown, and Sheamus is on SmackDown, but they're not going back to that. They're going to keep Cesaro losing to other people while he's involved with Shinsuke Nakamura. Fantastic. Fantastic. Instead of reuniting the Bar, reigniting some interest in the tag team division, which is absolutely lacking everything at this moment, you're going to have Sheamus go out there wrestling Denzel DeJournay, which is the second time we've seen this Hammer come out and get squashed by somebody. I believe last time it was Aleister Black. If it wasn't, who cares? You got these guys coming out wrestling jobbers, wrestling no-name guys from 205 Live or NXT Development. This is not what you do with a Sheamus. And now Sheamus is pissed off because Michael Cole's talking about Jeff Hardy. So they're going to end up putting Sheamus and Jeff Hardy on a collision course, it seems. And who's going to come out good on that end? You think they're going to have Jeff Hardy come back and, from what I've been reading, they're going to give him a pretty good push so that he doesn't fly the coop and go with his brother over to AEW. So if they want to keep Jeff Hardy happy, you think they're going to have him losing to Sheamus in his first series back from this injury? I don't think so. If they're trying to keep him happy, they're going to make him win. If they don't give a shit, then they're going to use him to look like crap and beat the hell out of him on his way out the door. And Sheamus might be the guy to do that for him. But that still is like a 50-50 thing. Jeff Hardy's got some time on his contract. What are they going to do? We don't know. But could they do better than giving us Sheamus versus Denzel DeJournay and then yelling at Michael Cole about Jeff Hardy? Yes, they definitely can do better than that. They followed this up with another look back at Jeff Hardy. Jeff Hardy Chapter 2, entitled The Fall, which was a series of clips and a little interview vignette with Jeff Hardy highlighting all of the bad things he's done in his life, how he has been to prison multiple times, all of his problems with substance abuse, and all of the things that made Jeff Hardy fall from grace. Which was great. You know, they're good at the promo stuff. The promo package team and the video editing team, they're very good at what they do. But I'm not sure where any of this is going with Jeff Hardy. Then we see Dana Brooke in the back warming up for her Money in the Bank qualifier with Naomi, and she gets approached by Carmella, who's like all pissed off that Dana Brooke is even in this match, and she's like, well, I could be in this match and be in the match with you too, and I'm sitting here going, I don't want to see you in either of these matches, so why are you in any of them? I don't think anybody in the world wants to see her in either of these matches besides herself. And apparently Vince McMahon, who has a thing for dick lips and blondes, which everybody knows. They talked about this year's Money in the Bank ladder match, which is going to feature a new format because, we can't have fans in attendance, so we're going to film it and we're going to make it, I guess, more like those cinema-style matches. Because this year's Money in the Bank is going to feature a brawl throughout the entirety of Titan Towers. It's taking place at WWE headquarters in Connecticut, and the match starts on the ground floor, but you have to work your way up to the roof. And on the roof, the briefcase will be, I guess, suspended from something, or will just be placed on the roof somewhere, and the first person to get to it gets the contract this year. So they're going to do this with the men, and they're going to do this with the women. And it's going to end on the roof of Titan Towers. And it's not going to take place inside of a ring. There's not going to be any ladders. So it's not technically a Money in the Bank ladder match. Or is there going to be a ladder? Is it going to be suspended from some kind of a pole at the top of the thing? I don't know. I will say this. They're trying. You got to give them a little bit of credit here that they're doing something different that's going to almost force your hand to see what the hell are they doing. I have no choice but to force myself to watch this pay-per-view just to see how this is going to play itself out. And don't you worry, no, because the hammer will come down on every single bit of it when we get to Money in the Bank in a couple of weeks. Then we had the qualifying match, Money in the Bank. Dana Brooke defeats Naomi, and that's all we're going to talk about. The funny thing about this is Dana Brooke wins this match, and then she was like shocked herself that she won. She went over to Michael Cole and she was like, hey Cole, I did it. Like, holy shit, like I actually won because, I never win because I shouldn't win because I don't know. I can't believe this actually happened. Was that pinfall a botch? Was she not supposed to win? I don't understand what the confusion was about. But Dana Brooke, as much as I hate saying it, moves on and qualifies in Money in the Bank. So we're going to have to see her on the rooftop of Titan Towers. Hopefully she don't get blown off by a strong gust of wind. Whatever. This match was neither here nor there either. Just the fact that Naomi lost, it doesn't matter that anything that happened inside the match. I don't understand that booking decision whatsoever. Why wouldn't you want to see Naomi in a ladder match? Did she not want to take part in it because of the new parameters of the match? So you had to just go with whoever's starving for TV time? My God. Then we had Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville in a face-to-face, and this actually went kind of well. Sonya Deville, I've said for many, many months, WWE's been sleeping on Sonya Deville. She's very good. And tonight she delivered a promo that definitely put her on the map in the eyes of the fans for the first time. You have to give her credit that promo was absolute fire. It was friggin' great. And it makes the story have a lot more layers to it. There's an underlying jealousy with Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose. And it's not in the romantic sense that you might think. Or perhaps it is. Maybe they're going down that road. Maybe Sonya Deville was the one that wanted to court Mandy Rose at some point. But it's going down the path of, hey, you're my best friend and you were trying to replace me with this guy. And she didn't believe that this guy was the right guy. And she was doing all of these things to protect her best friend. But it turns out that after all of this, she sees Mandy Rose for what she is, which is an absolutely terrible person. And it just took a whole different route than anybody expected it to, and Sonya Deville is acting like a perfect villain. What she's saying may be incorrect. What she's saying may be a bunch of bullshit, but she believes it. She believes that she's right, and every good villain believes their own story to be the right one, and this was great. Sonya Deville says she tried to hook her up with Dolph Ziggler because he was going to help Fire and Desire. Deville is happy everything is out now because all she wanted to see was Mandy Rose get hurt. She's wasted her time being second best to some eye candy. She said Mandy Rose has no talent, and she was very, very, very emphatic with it. She has no talent. No talent. It was really intense. She then promised to show everybody who the real leader of the tag team was, and that was her, Sonya Deville, a fighter, not some centerfold model. Mandy Rose then noted that she was happy when she slapped Sonya Deville at WrestleMania 36. Then they almost went at it, but Dolph Ziggler came out. He apologized for his actions. Ziggler tells Mandy Rose to look into my eyes. It should have been me. It should have been me. No, that's not what he said. But he wanted her to look into his eyes and say to him that she doesn't feel anything. Mandy Rose then pushed Ziggler away. Sonya then jumped Mandy, and Ziggler was not happy about how things were going down. But then big ol' Otis came running down for the save, gave Ziggler the caterpillar. Rose finally got her hands on Deville, but not very much. Sonya Deville would escape, and that was the end of that segment. A lot of good drama going on, a very good showing for Sonya Deville, and this has been the most intriguing storyline on the Blue brand. So props to them for continuing it and making it interesting at the very least. And I feel like if this would have went down in front of some fans, it would have been really, really special for everybody involved. But alas, that's not the case. So we will move on with this storyline next week. Michael Cole and Corey Graves went to the promotional package to celebrate the life of Howard Finkel. Michael Cole said that 24 years ago, Howard Finkel joined the WWE and knew nothing about sports entertainment. What? Oh, probably. Is that what he said? Michael fucking Cole, man. Maybe he didn't. Maybe when he entered the world 24 years ago. What? I don't know. I don't know what the fuck he was talking about himself. Let me read on. Michael Cole said that when he joined the WWE 24 years ago, he knew nothing about sports entertainment. We knew that, Michael Cole. But he then went on to say Howard Finkel taught him everything he knows about the business, and I guess he wasn't really paying much attention when the Fink was talking because Michael Cole don't know that much about the business even still. They aired an excellent tribute video for Howard Finkel covering his career and all of his highlights, which was fantastic. Then we went to a video package on the Forgotten Sons, and I guess they are continuing with their motif of WWE taking inspiration from television, because we got the Monday Night Man Bun being a messiah, taking everything that he's doing from the Netflix television show Messiah of the very same name. And now we got the Forgotten Sons coming out looking more like the Forgotten Sons of Anarchy, which was a show a couple of years back on FX. Many of you guys probably know. But I guess they're a biker gang now. I don't know. You know what? I've already forgotten. So they're not doing their job of being very memorable, and they're living up to their name of being the Forgotten Sons, because I forget these sons of bitches every single time I see them. I really don't care what's going on with that right now. Although we do need tag teams in the tag division. But how are they going to book them? That's the key here. Great, we got a new tag team. Are they going to be booked just like the Street Profits and be given everything and all these shots but still continue to lose and be looked like a joke for the longest time before they're taken a little bit seriously? Just like they did with the Authors of Pain? Just like they did with every other tag team that has come up from NXT? The Revival? Remains to be seen. The best match on this night goes to Daniel Bryan defeating Cesaro in a Money in the Bank qualifying matchup on the men's side of the blue brand. And see, this was the one thing SmackDown did right. They gave us one qualifier for the men, one qualifier for the women, and now on we go. They didn't just throw it all out there. Here's all the qualifiers for the women this week. Here's all the qualifiers for the men next week, like Monday Night Raw did, giving you way too much in one show and now leaving all these weeks to do absolutely nothing until we get to Money in the Bank. SmackDown did the right thing, and in this match we got the right winner, although I don't see why Cesaro is being excluded from the Money in the Bank ladder match. He should be in it. Daniel Bryan should be in it. What they should have done was have maybe Daniel Bryan beat a Sami Zayn for entrance into the Money in the Bank ladder match and giving him, a win over the Intercontinental Champion. And also maybe Cesaro defeating Drew Gulak to get in there. This way you have Daniel and Cesaro, because those are two guys you want to see in the Money in the Bank ladder match. If this was an all SmackDown Money in the Bank ladder match, then I would want to even see Drew Gulak in there. And you could have had all four of these guys, Shinsuke, Gulak, Cesaro, and Daniel Bryan, all in the Money in the Bank ladder match with four guys even from Raw. And you could have done the 8-man field. Would have been great. But no, instead we get Daniel Bryan defeating Cesaro. Cesaro's out. But this was a damn good match, man. You got two mat masters like Daniel Bryan and Cesaro in there. You know you're going to see a good match. The biggest problem I had with this match was how many times we went to commercial during this matchup. Not only is it the best wrestling match you've probably booked in the last couple of weeks, but it's a Money in the Bank qualifier. It has high stakes, but you want me to watch commercials about steaks from restaurants that I can't go to right now because we're supposed to be staying home. But what we were privileged enough to see was pretty great. It was a very evenly fought back and forth matchup. You didn't really know what was going to go down until Nakamura tried to interfere at the end after Daniel Bryan held and applied the label lock, got the win. Nakamura tried to get in there and free his buddy. Drew Gulak cut him off at the pass. Daniel Bryan now qualifies for the Money in the Bank, and we will see him going to the top of the Titan Towers somehow. I don't know if they're going to be wrestling from office to office. Maybe they're going to end up in some room where the Boogeyman's going to be in there. I don't know, man. What goes on at Titan Towers? We've seen some crazy shit over the years. And if they do this in this cinematic way of filming the match, I totally expect them to do some fun and interesting things. Like maybe open up the door to a room that looks like it could be a regular office, but when you open it up, it's, maybe the Undertaker's special room with all kinds of creepy shit in there and an urn and I don't know. Be creative. Why not? Go all out. If you're going to go weird, go super weird with it. At least it'll be worth watching. It'll be entertaining. Then we got to go to sleep a little bit because we had Elias and Baron Dickhead Constable Corbin King had a backstage altercation where Baron Corbin beat the snot out of Elias. And apparently it wasn't enough because we went to commercial break and came back. Elias was sitting on the ground, huffing and puffing and wheezing because he just got his ass kicked. And Baron Corbin came back to kick his ass again. I don't know if they just really wanted to fill some time here, but that was unnecessary to have it extend on as long as it did. You had the initial segment go on. It was fine. It should have been done. Didn't make me interested in anything that they're doing, but fine, it was over. But then you had to go on and extend it a little more and continue to push it on and on and on. When you got a tag team championship triple threat match happening at the end of the show that definitely could have used another 5 or 10 minutes, but you want to waste our time telling this story that nobody gives two craps about. The triple threat match, we seen the crowning of new tag team champions, even though there was only one man in the ring defending them. And I hate the whole concept. I hate the whole thought process here. And if you were going to change the championships, then it should have happened at that match at WrestleMania. Why did we have to do like a repeat match with the opposite ends of the tag teams the guys that missed out on that match and then pull the trigger here. I don't understand it. And then to make things worse, when you decide to pull the trigger, you're giving it right back to the New Day. And while I totally appreciate Big E being featured in a winning position here, I don't understand the obsession with the New Day. I feel the WWE is just trying to give everybody a feel-good moment. They just keep trying to make all the good guys win. Daniel Bryan won tonight. You know, they're giving you that yes moment kind of a feeling. And now the New Day wins, so everybody's going to be happy and throwing pancakes and riding unicorns over rainbows with trombones and shit like that. But why? Why give it back to the New Day? Why not just leave it on The Miz and Morrison so they can hey ho ho their shit all over the place until some new tag team can come out and take it from them? So now you got the Usos with 7-time champions. You got the New Day, the 8-time champions, and however long until it goes back to that dichotomy. And we're going to just see them going back and forth at it with one another. Is John Morrison going to be pissed at The Miz for losing the championships, or are they going to be singing, hey, hey, ho, ho, we don't give a shit no more, hey, hey, ho, ho? I don't know. I know I don't give a shit. I don't understand giving the championships back to the New Day. If anything, this shows the world that Big E is ready for a singles push on his own. I don't see, why they haven't even done that yet. But the most interesting thing that I kind of glazed over here, which happened during the Daniel Bryan match with Cesaro, was we had a vignette by that Truth guy. And not our Truth, the Truth guy, but this weird, mysterious figure, hooded cloak, who's revealing the truth about situations. And he showed clips of some various tag teams, including the New Day, including Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross, and many other SmackDown superstars, and said something very eerie, and said that people keep their friends close, but others keep their enemies closer, implying that maybe something shifty is going on with some of these other superstars, and he's not done telling the truth. And while this was mildly interesting, it is very, very confusing, and it makes me think, is what's happening in the tag team division going to cause some dissension in the New Day? Big E went out there and won it on his own. Who is he going to give the other belt to? Are they going to keep doing the, all three of us are champion thing? And is he going to be, annoyed by that? Because, Kofi failed, but I succeeded. I'm the better of the team. I'm the best member of the team. Like, maybe they can go that route and break up the New Day just a little bit for a little while. You could always have them come back together. That'll be a great WrestleMania moment one day, but give Big E some time on his own, man. That would be great. And if that little vignette from the Truth guy, Mustafa Ali in a hood, says anything about it, I think that might be something they're leaning towards. And obviously there's something weird going on between Bliss and Cross. That tag team doesn't need to exist at all. It's the most confusing pairing that we've seen in quite some time. So maybe they're going to start to reveal some of Alexa Bliss's hidden motives there. I don't know. There's going to be some interesting stuff as far as developing all of that stuff. But next week, they begin the Triple H 25th anniversary celebration. I don't know why all of a sudden we're having birthdays of, for lack of a better term, for, wrestling people. I guess he debuted 25 years ago, so we're going to celebrate the birth of Triple H starting next week on SmackDown. They said starting, which makes me assume it's going to continue into Monday Night Raw. Or over the weekend. I don't know. I don't know how they're going to play it out, but whatever. We're also going to see Chapter 3 of Jeff Hardy's life story. More Money in the Bank qualifiers next week. King Corbin takes on Drew Gulak. And we all know who they're going to put over there. I'm hoping that it's Gulak, but WWE is going to put King Corbin in this stupid matchup. And Sasha Banks goes one-on-one with Bam Bam. I'm like the that. Just to make sure she doesn't get in that qualifying matchup as well. That match has got to go to Sasha Banks. If she loses next week and doesn't even end up in the Money in the Bank, then I'm really lost. I'm really lost and don't know what they're going to do. And we have the Women's Tag Team Championships on the line. Bliss and Cross defend against Brooke and Carmella. And a special in-depth look at the history between Braun Strowman and Bray Wyatt, as if they haven't already shown a bunch of it to us already. But I guess they're going to at least try to make it interesting. Try to make it worth our while for tuning into this shit. They fail, for the most part, especially when it comes to SmackDown. It was a waste of everybody's time, as usual. And I don't understand why they're putting everybody at risk. This was essential? Was this essential to your enjoyment of this evening? There was nothing essential about this show except for how essentially bad it is. And how it essentially follows the trend of SmackDown continuing to be the most sleep-inducing, boring-ass wrestling show that the WWE produces. Devoid of all logic. Small little glimpses of greatness here and there. I wouldn't even say greatness. That just kind of rolled off the tongue. But, glimpses of goodness. Like a Daniel Bryan versus Cesaro match here and there. But for the most part, Suck Down Live in full effect. Thank you guys so much for joining me here again tonight for our review and reactions to SmackDown on Fox, which sucks. Once again, if you missed anything else that we've done this week, like the Monday Night Raw review or any of our coverage of WrestleMania leading into the pay-per-view and following all the post-Mania nonsense, it's all going to be live on the channel right now. We have not even bothered with AEW or NXT. I just don't have the time. I don't have it in me. I hate watching wrestling right now in its state that we find it in because of the epidemic and because of what's going on. I hate it. I hate it. It's hard to watch. It was hard enough to watch when it was the way it was supposed to be. But now, in this iteration, it doesn't have my interest. And it's very hard for me to even do these shows for you guys. I consider on and off all day canceling the reviews altogether until shows get back to what they're supposed to be, because otherwise we're going to be singing the same tune. Oh, without the fans, it's going to be awful. Without the fans, this would have been, or with the fans, this would have been great. I'm tired of saying the same shit over and over again. So maybe we'll do more special stuff and do everything wrong with pay-per-views and do special videos. I don't know. Part of me just wants to say, screw all this shit, man. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. But I know you guys come to me for your enjoyment. And if I can bring you guys some smiles and some happiness on Friday or Saturday, whenever it is you decide to watch this, and we can laugh at SmackDown together, then I guess I'm doing my job, and I'm going to keep coming here and helping you guys get through it all. Because we're all in this together, and we all have to stay safe and stay home if you can. But if you're essential like me, not like them, because they're not essential to WWE, but if you're an essential worker like I am, thank you for everything that you're doing out there, and continue to be safe as much as you guys can. Don't forget to leave your comments. Let me know what you thought about tonight's SmackDown. Let me know what the worst part was for you, what your favorite part was, what you think is going to go down at Money in the Bank. I want to know everything that's going on in your head. You just dump what it is down in the comments section below. If you had a great time here today, if I made you laugh, if I made you cry, if I made you understand why this show is a complete train wreck of a show, smash that like button right now. But most importantly, if you're not already one of the members of the Sledgehammer army that I am growing right here, this family that is coming together at least twice a week to shit all over professional wrestling, you want to become a Sledgehead? Right now, all you got to do is hit that subscribe button. Make sure your notifications are turned on so that you never miss a beat every time we drop it. So thank you so much, all of my Sledgeheads, for coming along this journey with me. It's been rough, man. 2020 has been the shittiest year for probably the entire world right now. And I hope you are all doing your best to get through it. That's it. That's all I got for you guys. That, my friends, is going to do it. My name is Nick Nightmare. This is the team. Thor the Sledgehammer, the official Sledgehammer of the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show. His tag team partner, the World Heavyweight Champion of all the microphones in all the world, Mr. Blue, the Snowball Microphone. The most important member of the team, as always, is each and every one of you. That's going to do it. We are out of here. We will see you next time, right here on your new favorite wrestling show, the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show, only on Sledgehammer TV, right here on YouTube.Kizom, and rest in peace to the greatest of all time. You will be missed. The WWE Hall of Famer, Howard Finkel.